It is Sunday, March 17, 2024. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And welcome to LCJ Live. It's our St. Patrick's Day show. That's why I've got green on today. Hope you're having a good holiday. Also got a couple pals here with me. Wolverine, because the new X-Men 97 series premieres Wednesday on Disney+. And Tuesday, I'll have a new LCJ Q&A podcast episode. An AnimationScoop.com Q&A with one of the directors of the show, supervising producer as well, Jake Castorena, talking about X-Men 97. I ask him about the series. Could there be some kind of MCU X-Men animated series crossover? We talk about that and more, so look forward to that on Tuesday. Tomorrow, another new Animation Scoop Q&A, an LCJ Q&A podcast episode with Miguel Puga, the director of the Casagrandes movie, which premieres Friday on Netflix. The Nickelodeon animated series spin-off of The Loud House now has a feature film debuting Friday on Netflix. I've also got here with me Ghost Lightning McQueen because of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire opening in theaters this coming weekend. This is pretty new, this car. And check this out. You take it off, and it's a Lightning McQueen car. So you put this on, and he becomes Ghost Lightning McQueen. That is pretty cool. That is rare. I've collected these Mattel cars since the beginning, 2006, when the movie came out. And it's rare for them to do something like this, a separate part like this that goes on top of the car. So we have Ghost Lightning McQueen for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I think will do okay this coming weekend. Linda Murdoch says, hi, thanks for being here on LCJ Live, St. Patrick's Day show. If you want to send in your questions and your comments live, thank you. Appreciate it. Your number one movie is Kung Fu Panda 4, once again with another $30 million. It's at 107.7 for Universal and DreamWorks. But right behind it, Dune Part 2 with $29.1 million. It's at 205.3 for Warner Brothers. Appreciate the comment, Linda. Thank you. Says I'm very cool. Love the blog. Thank you. I appreciate it. So this 1-2 of Kung Fu Panda and Dune, we had it last weekend. Here we go again. And it's very close. It's a $900,000 difference. So the question is, tomorrow when the actual results are released, will Dune Part 2 actually be number one over Kung Fu Panda 4? I don't think Universal wants to lose to Dune. So I'm going to say it stays like this, but it's very close. $900,000 difference is not a lot. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, but we know these are your top two movies by a lot because the third place film, Arthur the King, one of several new films to enter the top 10 this weekend, but not a lot of new films did very well this weekend. Arthur the King was at $7.5 million for Lionsgate. I think that's lower than what they hoped it would be, and a lot lower than what Dog with Channing Tatum opened to for MGM and Amazon 2 years ago. Robbie, a bit late I know, but when did your Best Picture prediction shift from Barbie to Oppenheimer? That's a good question, Robbie. You know, I did have a gut feeling back in late November, December, that Barbie would win. It shifted to Oppenheimer, I think. I mean, the SAG win sealed the deal, and I still thought there was a portion that could be Barbie because of the Greta Gerwig snub and because of the Margot Robbie acting snub, and that Greta would win adapted screenplay to be up on stage. That would be her win. Margot, as a producer, would be up on stage for the Barbie win. I think once Oppenheimer won the SAG Ensemble Award, it was clear that Oppenheimer was going to win. Maybe a slight 1-3% chance of Barbie still because of those snubs. But then Greta did not win adapted screenplay. Of course, it went to Cord Jefferson for American Fiction. And Margot Robbie did not win Best Picture for Barbie. It went to Oppenheimer. So that's when the shift officially happened. Yeah, I saw that Oppenheimer won the Golden Globe and won the Critics' Choice Award as well, but you had Barbie win a couple of those as well. The Box Office Golden Globe Award and the Best Comedy Critics' Choice Award. I knew Oppenheimer was going to take the BAFTA for Best Film, and then the SAG Award was the key, and the PGA was looking like it. So yeah, it was officially with the SAG win, but I still held out a little bit until making that official decision. It's been a week since the Academy Awards. This is the first LCJ Live since the Oscars last Sunday. I've posted a lot about the show, how the ratings went up a little bit, how the show was okay, had some highlights for sure, but not spectacular. And hopefully the Oscars will be earlier in the calendar year next year. In fourth this weekend. So Lionsgate has the third movie with Arthur the King. They also have the number 4 movie in Imaginary, which added 5.6 million. It's at 19.1. It has already made more money than a film that Lionsgate has also had in theaters for a little bit. That is in 10th place this weekend, Ordinary Angels, which added $1 million, which is up to 18.1. So Imaginary has already outgrossed Ordinary Angels, a film that should be doing much better. And Lionsgate has a film called Unsung Hero, which comes out at the end of April, and that's going to go after the faith-based crowd as well, and it'll be interesting to see if that can make more than Ordinary Angels. In fifth this weekend, another faith-based film, Cabrini, which added 2.8 million. It's at 13. Look, this is not going to be Sound of Freedom for Angel Studios. This is not going to have the impact of that. It's a good film. It's a strong central performance, but it's not the phenomenon that Sound of Freedom was. And I don't know if Angel Studios went into this thinking that it was going to have quite the impact or it was not. They played the trailer for this before Sound of Freedom. When I saw it last summer, they played the trailer for Cabrini, saying, come see this March 8, International Women's Day. But, I don't know, maybe because of other factors involved, it's not the summertime, not as big of a name as Jim Caviezel, the impact of the... But Cabrini's a good film, and I hope you go see it. Robbie, did you make any money off the Oscars? I did not bet, but I wish I could have bet on a couple things. Yeah, you're too good at this and not to try. Well, thank you. I got 19 of my 23 Oscar picks correct. Picking Oppenheimer for Best Picture. I also correctly predicted Oppenheimer would win exactly 7 Academy Awards. And I predicted animated feature will go to The Boy and the Heron. Even though Spider-Verse was winning so many technical awards, I looked at The Boy and the Heron winning BAFTA and the Golden Globe. Critics' Choice, and the Annie went to Spider-Verse, but I thought, 2 years ago, Encanto had the same path against Mitchells versus the Machines, and Encanto won. I also thought that Hayao Miyazaki, yes, he won for Spirited Away 21 years ago. Yes, he won an honorary Oscar about a decade ago, but it's been 21 years since Spirited Away. I think they would give that to him, as opposed to Spider-Verse just won 5 years ago. Should we give this to Spider-Verse again? I know people are thinking, oh, this is part 2 of a part 3. No, you got to think back. We just had part 1 not that long ago. Now, yes, Toy Story 4 won 9 years after Toy Story 3. That was an interesting year for animation in 2019, and I think Toy Story 4 was a good win. But I think 9 years is more than 5 years, and I think that was on a lot of people's minds. 6th place this weekend. Love Lies Bleeding, a film that has a very good Kristen Stewart performance and not much else works for it. $2.5 million for Love Lies Bleeding. It's at 2.8 million total. Some people went, it's not a great film. It starts out kind of unique and has some flair to it and some interesting filmmaking, and then it gets very ordinary. I was sitting there going, oh my gosh, how ordinary is this getting? It's frustrating. And then the end is way too chaotic. That last 20 minutes, too much happens, too much craziness happens to handle. So Love Lies Bleeding is a miss, unless you're a Kristen Stewart fan. If you're a Kristen Stewart fan, I say see it, but you're not going to have a great time. Next up, number 7 for the weekend, Bob Marley, One Love. At a 2.3 million, it's at 93.4. I don't see how Paramount finds a way to get this to 100 million. But 95, maybe 96 million, that's strong. That's a lot better than I think they anticipated. It's a good number for a film that could have opened at the end of last year and gotten some awards play. Number 8 this weekend, One Life, with a very good Anthony Hopkins. A strong film, especially the second half. First half, I don't love. Second half of One Life, it's very good. 1.7 million. It's in less than 1,000 theaters. Not bad with the per screen average. I hope you go see it if you like Anthony Hopkins. And he's delivered a number of good performances. I didn't care for his work in The Father, which won him the Oscar, but some of the other films in recent years, including The Two Popes and a few others, even Armageddon Time, he was the best thing in the Armageddon Time. He was the best thing in The Sun. Anthony Hopkins is still delivering good performances, and this is another one of those in One Life. So 1.7 million for that this weekend. Freud's Last Session, he's also very good in, which is, I think, on digital platforms now. So he's still delivering great performances, and One Life is another example of that. Number 9 this weekend, the American Society of Magical Negroes only opened to $1.3 million. Nobody wanted to go see it. I haven't seen it yet. I'll probably check it out at some point. I went to another movie. Looking at showtimes, I saw Love Lies Bleeding, and then the showtime didn't work out for American Society, but it worked out for Knox Goes Away, which has not revealed its money yet, but it probably made less than $1 million. The new Michael Keaton film, which I also didn't love. A little better than Love Lies Bleeding, but a very simple story and a very stretched out film. It's long, feels long. If you're a Michael Keaton fan like me, you're with it, but there should be more layers to the story, more surprises. James Marsden is miscast, and every scene goes on too long. So Knox Goes Away, I cannot recommend, and American Society did not make a lot of money, and like I said, rounding out your top 10 this weekend is Ordinary Angels. I will be seeing Problemista at some point when it expands nationwide. Oppenheimer, your Best Picture winner, added about $300,000 this weekend. Universal will try to get it to that $330 million mark. And this week's movies include, as I mentioned, the Casagrandes movie, Friday on Netflix. The new Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal, which I'm looking forward to. That is on Prime Video on Thursday. In theaters, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. Put a poll out the other day. It's on Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. And look, the 2016 Ghostbusters made $128.4 million. Afterlife from 2021 made $129.4 million. So my question is, can this new Ghostbusters movie, Frozen Empire, hit $130 million for Sony? They tried it the first time, couldn't get it. They tried it the second time, couldn't get it. Could it get to that $130 million mark? And the answer to the poll, 54% of you said no, while 46% of you said yes. So that's pretty close, but I don't know. It depends on how good this new Ghostbusters is and if people want to see it more than once, if families are going to go or not. But 54% say no, it will not hit $130 million. Got a couple other polls up on Twitter X right now. What is your favorite Ghostbusters movie? The 1984 original is winning currently with 59%. 2016 reboot with 26%. 1989 sequel, 8%. And 2021's Afterlife, only 7%. Even with the OG members coming back, only 7% chose Afterlife. And then what's your favorite Oscar-winning performance from this past year? 37%, Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer. 28%, Davine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers. 24%, Emma Stone in Poor Things. And only 11% of you say Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in Oppenheimer is your favorite of the 4 acting wins this year. Let's see. Also out Friday in theaters, Luca, the Pixar animated movie, finally gets a theatrical run. We'll see if we can hit $1 million for Disney and Pixar off that triple header that they did with Soul, Turning Red, and now Luca in theaters this winter and spring as we gear up for Inside Out 2 in June. Also in theaters, I'm going to be seeing soon Sleeping Dogs, new crime thriller drama starring Russell Crowe. It's from The Avenue. That was the studio that put out Land of Bad last month, which did okay, did close to $5 million. Russell Crowe was in that. He was very good in that. Problemista goes wide, Immaculate. Sydney Sweeney is in yet another movie, and she's got more on the way. And this horror film, Immaculate, will probably make a little money this weekend. Sydney Sweeney fans and horror fans will go see it. It won't make as much money as Ghostbusters, but it... we'll see how high up on the chart it can get. Could it beat Kung Fu Panda or Dune? We will have to see. Also this weekend, on Netflix is Shirley, which I have seen. It's in 20 theaters, I believe, right now, and it is going to Netflix on Friday. Regina King plays Shirley Chisholm, and she's very good. It's one of the best acting performances of the year so far. The movie itself is solid. It's interesting. It gets more interesting as it goes on, as we uncover more layers of this story. The performances are from the supporting work are solid. Lucas Hedges, Terrence Howard, the late Lance Reddick. The dialogue, a little pedestrian to me. Some of the scenes feel flat, dry, slow, especially the first 30 minutes or so. Not a lot of impact. Gets more of that as the movie goes on. Not a powerhouse. I think that maybe there's a reason why Netflix put this out in March and didn't save it for an award season. Again, I think Regina King's good, but I'm not sure it's a performance we're going to be talking about in 7 or 8 months. It depends on the rest of the year, but she is good if you're a fan of hers. Shirley is on Netflix on Friday. A new William Shatner documentary that I screened last night called You Can Call Me Bill is going to theaters on Wednesday nationwide. Check your theaters to see if it's playing near you. I will give my review of that tomorrow. I am embargoed until then. I think we pretty much covered all the movies that are coming out for this week. I mentioned X-Men 97 show, so new LCJ Q&As tomorrow and Tuesday, and you'll have my thoughts. I'll be seeing Ghostbusters later this week, the William Shatner documentary tomorrow, and more movies I'll be seeing, Sleeping Dogs soon, and hopefully Roadhouse soon, and some other new films. And of course, coming soon, Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. We've got Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and then Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. And then for April, you've got that double header of Monkey Man and The First Omen with posters that are almost identical. I posted that yesterday. My goodness. That's going to be confusing for theater owners and people who are putting up the posters, making sure they got the right one to put up and the right screen, because they're both red and black and dark and mysterious, and I guess they're going to go after the same audience, and we'll see. Maybe it's a new Barbenheimer. Maybe it is. Monkey Man and The First Omen for April the 5th. So when we're back here next Sunday for LCJ Live, we'll see how Ghostbusters does. I mean, the last one opened to 44. Something tells me this one won't open that high. And I think people are still going to see Dune and Kung Fu Panda. Third weekend for Panda, fourth weekend for Dune. I think it's going to take away a little of that money from Ghostbusters still. But at least 30. It's got to do at least 30, at least 35 for Sony to call it a success. It will be number one. We'll see how Immaculate does. We'll preview Godzilla x Kong and a couple other films coming out for the 29th of March. Thank you for being here for today's St. Patrick's Day episode of LCJ Live. Follow me on Twitter X at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson, YouTube.com/LightsCameraJackson. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. We're live every Sunday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for LCJ Live. The website lights-camera-jackson.com, lcj.podbean.com. We'll have those new Q&As, as well as animationscoop.com tomorrow. More coverage, more announcements, more exciting things on the way. Thank you for being here for today's episode of LCJ Live. Have a good St. Patrick's Day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.